video. I mean, it does feel sometimes a little bit staged. I think you guys can agree with me on that one. It feels a little bit staged, but I think it is. I mean, did you see some of the strategies used in that situation? What were two that you saw?
Communicating like what's going on at home.
Definitely.
The Spanish kind of communication.
Exactly. That was a big one there. You know, that positive, negative, positive, that 5 to 1. I mean, I think I counted, she said like 3 positive things before she even started the rest of the conversation, which I think was a really good thing. So there are a lot of additional resources on the CEFL website, such as positive solutions for families, like we talked about a little bit earlier, which is something that we do right here in Summit County. And Positive Solutions is so great because all of the information you need is right there on the CEFL website. So, you know, I empower you guys after you've gone through those 18 sessions and you want to learn more about Positive Solutions and you want to present that as, you know, an option for your parents. You guys can do that. You don't have to be a certified trainer to teach the Positive Solution classes. And it's all there for you. It's all right online. So that's definitely something, and if you need some help with that, or you want some more information, feel free to ask Catherine or I at any time. And then another additional resource on the CEFL website is a parent-child play group and home visits. So I already talked about Positive Solutions a little bit, but going into it a little bit more in detail. There are 6 sessions. Like I said, it's very user-friendly, and it is all evidence-based. CEFL also has what's called the PWI, the Parents' Interactions with Infants training, which is developed to help providers facilitate supportive relationships between families and their young children. And this can be done in a play group or in a home-based individualized setting. I think that play group, that it can be done that way too, is really great because, you know, doing things in a group setting is sometimes a lot easier. So the focus of that parent interaction training is to support competence, confidence, and positive relationships. You know, at the end of the day, with Positive Solutions, things like PWI, we want parents to feel competent and confident with their children. We want them to feel like the relationships they're building with their children, they are positive and they are helping the child to develop socially, emotionally, and across all other domains. So there are some other interaction strategies that can be used by the facilitator, which would be you guys. I think sometimes you guys can be seen as possibly like a coach to the parents. You know, they look to you as the educator of their child. You know, you're educating the parents as well, especially if you were to do something such as the Positive Solutions classes. I think that's just something really important to remember, that you are coaching those parents as well. Now, when thinking about, you know, working with families, there are a couple different models, ways you can think about whether, you know, you are working with that child. Sometimes it's a little bit more indirectly through that consultative model, where you are the interventionist and you're first speaking with the family. And that could be something where you talk to the family and you come up with a strategy to maybe change a relationship at home. And then the opportunity then flows down to the child. Whereas the direct services model, what might happen at school? Changing that routine will go directly from you to the child. So, you know, that coaching support piece, I don't think it can be said enough that that's something that's really, really important, that relationship you develop with parents. Something really helpful is establishing a goal with the parents. You know, a lot of research says that establishing a goal really helps a lot of people to meet that goal, rather than just say, oh, I think he's going to get better. But if it's, you know, a SMART goal, if it's attainable, if it's realistic, you might be able to get there a little bit more efficiently. Modeling things, especially for parents, is really great. If they see you doing things, they might think, oh, I might be able to try that. I can see how, you know, my child's teacher did it. And then homework, you know, is another thing for parents. Of course, you know, you're not going to give them hours of homework, but you want to be working together. Yes, you're coaching them, but you're a team when you're working with this child. So Taxi is another place I know that we've talked about that has a lot of really great resources. This is a series of tips sheets about making life easier. They're specifically for parents and caregivers, and that's the link below if you'd like to look at those, but they're specifically targeted to make these challenging times a little bit easier. So bedtime or nap time, running errands, diapering, times like that. Cephal also has several family tools. Again, the link is at the bottom of the page. Things making the most of playtime, talking to your child about their feelings is another big one. Teaching your child to cooperate with requests. These are all things that you can pass along to a parent and say, hey, there are a ton of tools on Cephal's website. You know, I empower you to go check those out. They're all there for you. So there also are a lot of assessment tools, whether it's on the Cephal website or the Taxi website, in regards to working with families. So you can kind of assess where you started and where you are a certain amount of time later. And then you guys can say you have evidence to back up what you're doing. Because I've done this X amount of times and I have assessments that says it works. Data doesn't lie. So that's definitely something that you guys could do on your own, and all those tools are there for you online. And let me know if you need help finding any of those tools. We're more than happy to help you find those tools. So then some of the major messages from session 6, and I think we've definitely covered this, but families are an essential component of a child's social and emotional development. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir a little bit when I say that. I think you all agree with that. Research suggests that family-centered intervention is the most effective tool, especially when supporting those partnerships, working as a team. Acknowledging, asking, adapting, those are all helpful strategies for conflict resolution. Coaching, is a huge tool there for you guys. I empower you guys to be those coaches. You guys have the skills, you have the education. Coach those parents so those children, really develop socially and emotionally. So then I'll give you guys a couple minutes to jot down some thoughts. I know we've been doing it electronically in the past. Changes you might make in regards to your behavior, things you want to take back to your co-teachers, things of that nature. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to do that.